Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm Tami Stackelhouse, fibromyalgia coach, author, and founder of the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute. The goal of this podcast is to empower you with access to the dream team of experts and coaches I've discovered are key to living the fibro life you love. From the comfort of your own home, and maybe even your pajamas, I'll help you take back control of your life and health. To help out with fibro fog, I always include full show notes and additional resources at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhouse, and this is episode 174. Today, we're talking about something that can completely change your relationship with goal setting, the power of starting small. If you've ever felt like you can't make plans or you've stopped setting goals because your symptoms are so unpredictable, this episode is for you. We're going to look at why traditional goal setting does not work for fibro bodies and how taking small, tiny steps, even ones that can feel almost silly, can help you rebuild confidence and start seeing real progress again. I'll walk you through some simple visuals that will make all this click, and we'll talk about how I help my clients set goals they can actually achieve. If you've been feeling stuck, discouraged, or afraid to make plans, take a deep breath. You are in the right place. All right, let's dive in. I want to start by just naming something that so many fibromyalgia patients experience, but very few say out loud. Fibromyalgia can completely break your relationship with yourself. When your symptoms are unpredictable, it's not just the goals and the plans that fall apart. It's your trust in you. Maybe you've had days where you felt okay and tried to make a plan, a social commitment, a work task, even a small routine. And then the next morning, the pain or the fatigue hits and everything falls apart. After that happens again and again, it doesn't just feel frustrating, it becomes personal. I hear this from so many of you. I'm a hot mess. Maybe I'm just lazy. I've got to get my act together. Basically, I can't trust my brain and I can't trust my body. And here's the hard truth that no one tells you. It isn't just your body and your brain you've lost faith in. It is yourself. And that self-doubt, that shame, that feeling of being unreliable or too much or not enough, that's not a character flaw. That is a trauma response to living in a body that changes the rules on you all the time. When your brain tries to protect you from disappointment, it's going to whisper things like, "Oh, honey, you know not to make plans. You'll just have to cancel again." Or, "You can't set goals. You know you can't follow through on things." Or, "You know how this goes. You know better than to trust yourself." And the saddest part, after a while, you start to believe it. So if you're listening and you're nodding your head and you're thinking, yes, that's me. I do not trust myself anymore. I can't make plans. I want you to hear me crystal clearly. Nothing about this makes you lazy, undisciplined, or broken. You have simply been trying to use tools designed for someone else that just don't work for the reality of living with fibromyalgia. And just between us, those tools don't work for other people either. It's why most folks ditch their New Year's resolutions before the month is even over. In fact, January 17th has become an unofficial holiday called Ditch New Year's Resolutions Day. So today we're going to create a different approach, one that actually honors your body, your energy, and your real life. So we have named why goal setting can feel so painful with fibromyalgia. Now, I want to give you some simple pictures, 4 little metaphors that will help everything we talk about today click in your brain. These are the fog-friendly, body-friendly, and can create a whole new way of thinking about progress when you live with unpredictable fibro symptoms. The first picture I want to paint for you is one of my favorite, the ferocious turtle. One of my friends coined that term, and I just adore it. So thank you, Jaira. Because here's the thing. Yes, we move slowly with fibromyalgia. We have to. And that can feel frustrating when the world around us is moving so fast. But slow does not mean weak. Slow does not mean unmotivated. Slow does not mean broken. Remember the tortoise and the hare? This is one of my favorite fibro fairy tales. Slow and steady wins the race, baby. And I, for sure, self-identify with that tortoise. Now, inside of us, most fibro folks are some of the fiercest, most determined people that I know. Our ferocious turtle isn't racing or sprinting, nor is she lazy. She's just a turtle. Turtles move slower than other animals, and that is okay. She's also not giving up. She just keeps taking one tiny, stubborn step after another. And in the fibromyalgia world, that slow, determined energy is what truly creates long-term progress. People often ask me how I've accomplished everything I have. And to be honest, I have not done any one big thing. I just kept taking one step after another, slowly and ferociously. So the next time you think you're going too slow, remember the tortoise and the hare and Jaira's ferocious turtle. The second image I want to give you is a saying that I have always loved. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. When you rush, you tense up. Your brain can't keep up and you make more mistakes. Then you have to go back and fix them. When you slow down and you can act with intention, things go more smoothly. And in the end, you can actually accomplish more faster. This is so true for fibromyalgia. Rushing leads to flares. Notice how your body feels when you're rushing. Your nervous system is keyed up. Your muscles are more tense. Your breathing is more shallow, more rapid. All of these things are signals that your body is in fight or flight. I mean, think about it. Rushing, that's flight. And this is something that we get stuck in easily with fibromyalgia. Not only that, when we have brain fog and fatigue and pain, our brains and bodies literally cannot keep up the pace when we rush. Think of it this way. Your brain is moving in the slow lane while you're trying to pass someone in the fast lane. That is how mistakes happen. And once you end up in a flare, everything slows down. You're not getting much done if you are stuck on the couch with a heating pad, right? So the fastest way for us to make progress is actually the slowest way. Calm, gentle, intentional steps. A great example of this is from one of my coaches, Lauren. She caught herself rushing through the airport to our annual retreat and then paused, slowed down, still made it on time, but without the extra pain and fatigue. Slow becomes smooth, smooth becomes sustainable, and sustainable becomes fast because you're not taking time out because you're in pain, exhausted, or because you have to go back and fix mistakes. You're traveling with intention, like our ferocious turtle. The third picture is one I like to keep in mind whenever I am working with clients, especially new ones. Imagine a ladder that you need to climb. Let's say it's a 10-foot ladder. Now, imagine that that first rung is above your head where you can barely touch it with your fingertips. How likely are you to be able to climb that ladder? That's a ladder only for tall, strong people, right? Now, imagine that the rungs are close together. Maybe the first rung is only a couple of inches off the floor. This ladder, anyone can climb, even on a bad day, even in a flare. Traditional goal setting is like that first ladder with the rungs spread too far apart. It is designed for neurotypical brains and healthy bodies. It assumes that you have constant energy, that you have predictable days, and that you have stable levels of functioning. So, what do? We bring those rungs closer together, close enough that even on your lowest energy, high pain day, you can still climb one rung. That is how we rebuild our confidence in ourselves, not with big leaps, but with tiny steps stacked together over time. Both ladders are still 10 feet tall. One you can climb and one you can't. And so instead of realizing the problem is with the ladder, why the heck would anyone build a ladder with the first rung 6 feet in the air? We instead think the problem is with us. Why can't I just do it like everyone else does? It's not you. And now the last and fourth picture, another of my favorites. If you have ever seen the movie What About Bob, you will remember Bob shuffling along saying baby steps through the office, baby steps out the door. And then you hear, it works. All I have to do, just take one little step at a time and I can do anything. Now, this, of course, is done for laughs in the movie, but honestly, that is exactly how progress works with fibromyalgia. Baby steps are like those ladder rungs. They're close enough together that you can climb the ladder. And our ferocious turtle, she is taking baby steps. Have you ever watched a turtle? They do not take big steps. So those baby steps, they're going to keep your nervous system calm. Baby steps make things feel doable. And baby steps also prevent overwhelm. But here's the most important thing to remember. When you stack all those baby steps together, you can look back and realize you've actually made real progress, even if it didn't feel like you were doing all that much. So if you're feeling discouraged, or if you're feeling stuck or afraid to make those plans, I want you to keep these 4 pictures in your mental back pocket. The ferocious turtle, fierce, steady determination, one step at a time. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Your best pace is a gentle pace. And those ladder rungs that are close together, it makes the climb doable even on the bad days. And then those baby steps, calm, manageable, one at a time. Baby steps down the hall, baby steps into the elevator. These 4 visuals really are the foundation of fibro-friendly progress. And they're exactly how I help my coaching clients rebuild trust in themselves. Let me show you how we put this into practice in real life. I'm going to take you behind the scenes just a little bit and share what I do as a coach, because honestly, this surprises a lot of people. Most folks come into coaching thinking that they're going to be pushed or challenged or told to try harder, do more. Some people, that's what they want from a coach. One person said it this way: if I work with you, will I have to give up coffee and chocolate? I just love that. There's just so much in that one question, isn't there? Fibromyalgia takes so much away from us that this client was thinking, am I going to have to give up the last few things that bring me pleasure? But that's not what I do at all. In fact, I kind of do the opposite. Like I told that client, only if you want to. My first goal for you when I start working with someone is actually not about trying to get you to do more or even really do anything like eating better, drinking more water, or even sleeping better, whatever habit it is that you want to build. My very first intention is to help you rebuild your confidence in yourself. My goal is for you to believe that you can set goals and intentions and follow through on them and accomplish what you want to accomplish. That's the part fibromyalgia takes away from us, right? Not the goals themselves, but the trust. The trust that you can set a goal and that you can actually follow through on it. And when you don't trust yourself, everything feels impossible. So when I begin working with a client, our first job isn't to fix your routines or fix your sleep or fix anything, except to rebuild your relationship with you. Now, at the end of every coaching call, I always ask my clients, what do you want to accomplish before we meet again? You are choosing your own goals, not me, you. Very, very occasionally, I might assign a bit of homework that I know will help, but 99% of the time, you are picking what feels meaningful to you. And here's the magic. We talk through it all together to make sure that that goal is actually doable. Not for who you can be on your very best day or some imaginary future self, but for your real fibro life right now, in the body that you have today and the energy you have today. And here's the part that always makes people laugh at first. My job is usually to make your goals smaller, not bigger. We shrink things down until they become what I call stupidly small. It's a goal so small that you roll your eyes and think it's silly. It's a goal so small that even on a flare day, you can do it. A goal so small that you can't help but accomplish it. Like you trip and you accomplish it. Because the thing is, to me, the goal itself is not really the important part. The goal is somewhat irrelevant. It's far more important to me to show your brain and your body, oh, hey, I just did that. Those tiny little wins are the things that start rebuilding trust in yourself, one success at a time. And that trust, that growing confidence, that is what eventually makes all the bigger goals possible. When your goals are tiny enough to guarantee success, something really powerful happens. You start proving to yourself over and over again, I can do this. Or with a little planning and support, my body can do this. Even on a rough day, I can do a little something, and that adds up over time, which starts to rewire the part of your brain that used to whisper, you can't trust yourself. Instead, your brain starts to say, hey, maybe I can. And that shift is where everything changes. So now that you know the heart behind how I help people set goals, let's talk about how we actually design those goals so that a fibro body can actually achieve them. So you have probably heard of SMART goals before. It's a really common tool that's used in business, productivity, coaching, all the places that assume people have predictable energy and consistent capacity. SMART goals. And here's the thing. As a general rule, SMART goals are great. They can give our foggy fibro brains some clarity so that we know what we're working for and when we have achieved it. The problem is the way most people use SMART goals, and it doesn't account for symptoms that change day to day, for energy that changes day to day. So let's take these one at a time, and I'll show you how we can tweak these to be more fibro-friendly. S, that stands for specific. This is actually awesome for fibromyalgia. Our fibro brains love clarity, and with brain fog, clarity is like a lighthouse beacon, pointing you where you need to go. When you have brain fog, you don't need more fog. You need a lighthouse. So instead of setting a goal like, I'm going to drink more water, a specific version might be, I'm going to drink 70 ounces of water a day. Because what's more? Is it a sip? Is it a gallon? Is it more water in a year, in a month, in a day? When you get super clear, I'm going to drink 70 ounces of water a day, your brain and your body know exactly what to do with that. You'll also know when you have accomplished it instead of just more hanging over your head, causing you stress because you're not sure if you've achieved more or not. The M, that stands for measurable, and measurable is great too. It makes things very binary. Yes, no. Did I do it? Did I not? That simple clarity helps your brain see the win. You know if you've accomplished it. The A is attainable, and this is one that we need to shift our thinking on just a little bit. The traditional idea of attainable is asking, can I do this? And we naturally think of this as, is it possible for me to do this? And the thing is, I believe that most of us with fibromyalgia could do just about anything once. The problem is that we answer this question with an idealized version of ourselves, right? We're thinking about, is it possible for me in the full spectrum of my me-ness, is it possible for me to do this? And the answer is probably yes. But when we think about it this way, the better question is, can I do this right now? In the body I have today, with the energy I have today, and the pain and the brain fog I have today. Another way to think of it is like this. Can the lowest energy flared up version of me do this on a bad day? Because what's attainable on a good day may be absolutely impossible in a flare. And if a goal only works for you on your best day, that is not a fibro-friendly goal. When I am working with clients and talking them through all of this, I also have them look at their calendar. Is this attainable with the other commitments you have this week? Is this attainable with the other ways you're spending your energy? All right, the next is the R, and this is relevant, and it's a biggie. A goal might be healthy. A goal might be good for you, quote unquote, on paper, but is it relevant to the body and the life you're living today? Not the life you had 10 years ago, not the life you wish you had, or the body that you wish you had, not some idealized version of your life where everything goes perfectly and there are no fibro flares. The life you're in right now, with your pain and your energy right now, your current stress levels, responsibilities, and brain fog. Is this relevant to you now? Let me give you an example. We all know, I think, that exercise is supposed to be good for you. So many clients come to me wanting to know how they can exercise more. But depending on your level of fibro symptoms, the other conditions that may need to be addressed, and so on, more exercise may actually do you more harm than good right now. So we need this to be relevant to you and your body right now. All right, the T in SMART stands for time bound, or simply having a clear deadline. Deadlines can absolutely be helpful. That's part of that clarity piece we keep talking about, but only if we build those deadlines in a way that respects your body and your fibromyalgia. So instead of rigid deadlines, We recognize that the goal itself is the most important thing and that the deadline is flexible. As some people say it, the goal is written in stone, but the deadline is written in sand. We can also create time windows for accomplishing things instead of a hard and fast deadline. So instead of, I'll do this by Tuesday, we think something like, I'll do this sometime between Tuesday and Saturday. That way, you have the space and the flexibility to be kind to yourself if your body needs you to do something different or something else instead. So I'll give you an example. When I plan recording time for this podcast, like what I'm doing right now, I always give myself a few possible time slots where I can record, not just one rigid slot. That way, if life happens and the first time doesn't work, I can always bump to the next, right? That flexibility lets me honor my body and my life's priorities, like family, without abandoning the goal or feeling like I failed. I even build this concept into my certified fibromyalgia advisor class by having built-in catch-up weeks every fourth week. Like I always tell my students, fibro bodies do not always like to work on somebody else's schedule. Looking at it as a whole is how we adapt those SMART goals for fibro bodies and brains. And you can already see how much gentler and more realistic this becomes, even with just those few small tweaks. But there's an even better version of this that I love using with my clients, and that's smarter goals. That extra E and R for smarter are where things really get fun, in my opinion, because the E and the R are the parts that make your goals feel good, not just doable. The E stands for exciting. And this is more important for fibro brains than most people realize. To stick with a goal, especially a tiny goal that feels a little bit silly, you need at least a spark of its excitement about it. And that excitement doesn't have to mean a big fireworks level feeling. It can be something as simple as, oh, this will make my mornings easier. Or my future self is going to thank me for this. And that tiny spark, that matters because fibro life takes a lot from us, right? Energy, predictability, control. And having a goal you're actually excited about, even a little, helps you take some of that power back. It's also important to note that sometimes what we're excited about is actually something that is a little bit more indirectly related to the goal. Let me tell you, I do not enjoy continually working on my sleep schedule. I have this inner 2-year-old that stamps her foot and says, but I don't want to go to bed. But I tell you what, I do love the fact that when I get more deep sleep, that in turn gives me more energy, which gives me a clearer brain. And so while I'm not that excited about going to bed on time, I am excited about more energy and a clearer brain. So if the goal itself doesn't excite you, look at the things around the goal. What is that goal going to help you do? For example, I have had several clients start working with me because they wanted to be physically able to help when a new grandbaby was born. Their daughter-in-law, they were pregnant and they knew there was a deadline, that baby was coming, and they wanted to be able to help. So the new grandbaby, that's the thing they're excited about, not working on their sleep or taking supplements or doing their PT exercises or whatever. They need to find the thing that excites them, that new grandbaby, and focus on that. All right, the last one, the R. This stands for reward. Now, I want to be clear here. This is more about acknowledging and celebrating the win than it is about having a prize at the end. Rewards do not have to be big or fancy. In fact, sometimes the best fibro-friendly rewards might be tiny and soothing. Reading a book that you've been waiting to read. I've got Louise Penny's Gamache book, The Black Wolf, sitting on my Kindle, and that is going to be one of my rewards, spending a day reading my book. Maybe it's a gold star, right? Maybe it is just pausing to say, oh, I did that. Maybe it's texting your coach or a friend to celebrate with you. Rewards help your brain feel the success, and that's what rewires your belief system. Every little celebration sends the message to your brain, hey, I can do this. I did this. Or my body did this. Maybe she can do other things too. Or maybe a little Winnie the Pooh. Maybe I'm capable of more than I thought. That emotional reinforcement is what turns a tiny win into momentum. Like one snowflake starting a snowball, it all builds up. So let's pull this all together. Smarter goals, the fibro-friendly version, looks like this. Specific, clear enough for your brain fog. M is measurable. You can see the win, you know when you've accomplished it. A, that's attainable. And remember, that means doable for your lowest energy days, not some idealized version of yourself. The R is relevant, that it is matched to your real life and your real body right now. The T is maybe not time bound, but let's say time flexible. This gives space for flares and for just life happening. The E for smarter stands for exciting, something that you actually care about. And remember, maybe you're not excited about the actual task at hand, but you're excited what that's going to do for you. And then the R, of course, celebrate, to rewire your brain. This is your reward. And that is how we create goals that you can not just set, but actually accomplish. And meeting goals, even those tiny, tiny ones, is what rebuilds that self-trust that fibro has tried to take away from you. Now, there's one more piece that I want to talk about that is really important. The first goal that I set with a client is usually not about taking action. Our first goal is usually not about doing something. This is one thing that surprises a lot of my coaching clients. When we make their very first goal, it's usually not an action step at all. It is awareness. Paying attention and noticing how they act or how they feel in certain circumstances or with certain actions. And here's why. You cannot change something that you cannot see. Many of our habits, our thoughts, and our actions are unconscious. So how do you take something that by definition you are not aware of, right? That's what unconscious means, and make yourself aware of it? We do that by paying attention. Awareness goals sound like, notice what comes up for you this week, or pay attention to how your body feels, or notice the thoughts that come to mind. There is no pressure. There is no expectation other than to learn something about yourself. Goals like these help you understand your body, your energy, your thought patterns, your real life capacity, just so much. Once you have that information, then we can build better goals that actually make sense for the way your brain and your body and your fibro actually works. It's like turning the light on in a dark room. You can finally see where the furniture is, so you stop stubbing your toes on everything. So let me give you an example. Years ago, my doctor wanted me to try going gluten-free. This was pretty early in my fibro diagnosis when I was doing my best to get better. I kept trying and I kept failing. I just could not do it. So I had a coach, my coach told me to pay attention. She said, when you're getting ready to make dinner, pay attention to the thoughts that come up for you. When it came time for dinner, I realized the thought that came up. I kept choosing quick and easy meals because my counter was piled with crap. In my head, it went something like this. If I'm going to cook, I'm going to have to clean the counter first, and I am just too tired for that, so I'm just going to grab something fast. Awareness is what gives us that clarity. The problem wasn't my willpower. The problem wasn't force on my part, right? Trying to force myself to do something. The problem was my counters weren't clean enough to make dinner. And that clarity, that awareness that gives us clarity, that clarity then clears those blocks in front of us, sometimes literally the blocks on the counter, and it offers us compassion. That compassion then gives us momentum, right? In my case, that awareness that I'm not making dinner because there's crap all over my counter gave me the clarity that I needed to prioritize cleaning off the counter so that it was clear for making dinner. My priority needed to be cleaning the counter, not getting better at making dinner, because if I cleared off the counter, the rest would follow. It allowed me to be compassionate with myself, right? Of course, I'm not going to be taking a couple of hours to sort through the junk on the counter just so I can make dinner. Of course, I'm not. But it also gave me that momentum because guess what my next goal was? The next time I met with my coach, scheduling time to clear off the counter. So if you're ever unsure of where to start on something, like if you have something you want to accomplish and you just don't know where to start, or if you've been working on something and you get stuck and you notice that you're not making the kind of progress that you want, start by paying attention. See what comes up for you. See what thoughts you have. See what gets in the way. Awareness is really the key to the whole thing. All right, let's bring everything together for you. I want to walk you through the exact system I use with my coaching clients to rebuild their self-confidence and their self-trust, and to make progress feel possible again for them, even when symptoms are unpredictable. If you have the time and the space right now, I would suggest grabbing a pen and paper and working through these steps. If you don't have time, feel free to keep listening, maybe come back to this episode, and feel free to pause as we go through these steps. All right, step 1. The first thing I want you to do is choose one thing you want to accomplish. Not 5, not everything, 1. Sometimes that's the hardest part. All right, step 2. I want you to set a goal that you can accomplish by this time next week. That's what I do with my clients. I usually meet with them once a week. And so when we're having that conversation, it's what do you want to accomplish by this time next week? It should be laughably tiny. Remember, I call these stupidly small, right? You could trip and accomplish it. This is that baby step, that baby turtle step. And remember that the ferocious bit is the fact we just keep going step after step. This isn't get there in one giant leap, right? This is one tiny step after another. So pick a goal so small that you want to roll your eyes. Something that you could still do even if you end up being in a flare from now until next week. And whatever you come up with, you're going to love this. I challenge you to make it even smaller. Remember, our intention here is to rebuild your confidence in your own mind and body. And you can always do more if you finish what you've set as your goal. Now, those of you who maybe are used to setting goals and you know you're good at this, you can feel free to make a larger first baby step. But for most of you, if you've really felt challenged to do this kind of thing, if you felt like it was impossible, make it stupidly small. Remember, even just becoming more aware, paying attention alone can be a great first baby step. All right, step 3, I want you to make it smarter, right? So run through that tiny goal, take it and run it through your smarter filter, right? We want it to be clear, specific, measurable, attainable, doable for you this week, tied to something that you care about. And don't forget to celebrate when you accomplish it. Now, we do have the R, right? Figuring out how we're going to celebrate, but then we have to actually do it, right? And that's what step 4 is about, measure and celebrate. So once you've accomplished that baby step goal, do your celebrating. Remember, it can be small. It can be a little fist pump. Yes! It could be a smile. It could be closing your eyes and taking a deep breath and just feeling that good feeling of accomplishing something. Maybe you're just giving yourself a gold star and you wear a gold star sticker all day. Maybe it's telling someone, heck, you can shoot me a message if you need to and say, hey, I did it. I will absolutely celebrate with you. And celebrating, remember, it sends that message to your brain and your nervous system. This is good. Let's do this again. Those little celebrations are how we strengthen that belief. Hey, I can do this. I did this. And then step 5, this is, I think, the most important part of the whole thing. And that is to adjust or to evaluate. At the end of the week, I want you to check in with yourself and evaluate what it is that you've learned, and then adjust what you do based on what you've learned. Remember, there is no guilt, no shame, just information. We either accomplish the goal or we learn something. It's the scientific method, actually. Did you accomplish your goal? Great. You can be that ferocious turtle and keep going. What's the next step that you can take? What worked that you want to keep? What do you want to do differently? And if you didn't accomplish that goal, dig deeper. Maybe your baby step wasn't quite baby enough for you right now. Remember, the ladders with the rungs close together? Maybe your life took an unexpected turn and you had to use your energy for something else this week. It happens. It happens to all of us. Evaluate what you've done, what worked, what didn't, and then make a new goal. Let's reset the goal. Maybe in paying attention, you realized the goal was something that you thought you should want, but you actually don't, right? Like giving up coffee and chocolate. So again, no guilt, no shame, just data. We either accomplished the goal or we learned something that will help us take the next step. When you approach your life this way, those baby steps, paying attention, celebrating your wins, and remembering no guilt, only learning, something powerful really does start to happen. You can begin to trust yourself again. Because yes, these steps will help you drink more water or go gluten-free or whatever your actual goal is. But the real transformation, remember, my first goal when I'm working with a client is what happens inside of you. When you set a fibro-friendly goal and you actually accomplish it, even if it is something stupidly small, you start to send your brain a new message. I can do things. I can trust myself to do what I say I will do. And that matters more than you know. For you, Fibromyalgia has probably been teaching you the exact opposite, right? It's maybe taught you that your body can flip on you out of nowhere. Maybe it's taught you that your energy isn't reliable. Maybe it's taught you that you can't trust your brain or your memory or your stamina. And after years of that, it is totally understandable that your confidence has taken a hit. Of course it has. Whose wouldn't? But those tiny steps, those little wins, those gentle successes that you can actually complete, they start to rebuild that trust one step at a time. You'll begin to feel a shift from, I can't do anything consistently, to, I can do a little bit, and those little bits will add up. And then maybe, wow, I did that. Maybe I can try something else. And eventually, maybe you'll find yourself realizing with Bob that one baby step at a time really does add up and you can do anything. And that is when the magic happens. Because once you trust yourself again, once you realize you can follow through and you can make progress, everything in your life becomes more possible. You are not broken. You are not a failure. You are and have always been a ferocious turtle. You're moving steadily, intentionally, and bravely. You're not moving fast. Turtles don't move fast. You're working your way through a world that just doesn't understand how much strength it takes to keep taking one baby step after another. And I know that you are a ferocious turtle because you're here listening to me right now. You have been brave enough to seek your own information in understanding your fibromyalgia and making your life better. You don't need giant steps. You just need tiny ones that you can take over and over. The tortoise won the race. It did not take giant leaps like the rabbit. It took tiny little baby turtle steps. And you are absolutely capable of that, which means you can win the race too. So again, this week, I would love it if you tried this out. Try that baby step goal that you've already chosen, the one you had in mind when we walked through it earlier, and notice what comes up, and then review what happened. Remember, no guilt, no shame. You either accomplish the goal or you learn something. And either one is a win in my book, for sure. And if you'd like some support with this, if you haven't done goal setting like this, if it feels hard, if you want someone to help you find those tiny doable steps and stand with you as you rebuild that trust in yourself, we can absolutely do this together. That is exactly what a certified fibromyalgia coach is trained to do. We help you set goals that fit your real life and your real body, the one that you're living in right now, today. And we'll help you celebrate your wins. We'll also help you adjust things as your symptoms shift from day to day. And honestly, sometimes having someone in your corner who gets it makes all the difference. Because remember, we all have fibromyalgia too. So when you show up for a coaching call and say, I couldn't this week because I ended up in a fibro flare, we're not going to condemn you. We're not going to shame you. We're not going to say, oh, but you should have done it anyway. We're going to help you figure out how to maybe not end up in a flare next time, or how to break the goal down small enough that you can do it even in a flare, right? It's kind of like my coach helping me figure out that I can't cook dinner if my counter is a mess. When we're in the middle of it, it is really hard to see. And someone from the outside looking in can actually make all the difference, right? We know how to tweak the goal setting process so that it works for fibro brains and bodies. If you'd like to learn more or to schedule a consultation with a coach or one of our students, you can go to findafibrocoach.com or just check today's show notes at fibromyalgiapodcast.com/174. All right, let's wrap this up. Today, we talked about a completely different way or a tweaked way of setting goals. One that actually works with your fibro body and brain instead of fighting against them. And I hope that you'll carry these 4 pictures with you this week. That ferocious turtle, slow, steady, determined, brave, right? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. The pace that keeps you from a flare is actually what will get you there the fastest. I know it seems slower. It's not, I promise. And then the third, our ladder with the rungs close together. Plan your steps so that you can do them even on your worst day. And then number 4, what about Bob's baby steps, right? Take one little step at a time and I can do anything. You don't need huge changes. You don't even need willpower. You don't need a good day or even your best day or even an okay day. You just need tiny, repeatable steps that help you rebuild trust in yourself, one small success at a time. And remember, it's all wins, right? There's no failure, no guilt, no shame, just data. You either accomplish it or you learn from it. And both of those are wins. Now, I have got this week's listener shout out for you. This one comes from Shelly. She commented on my Facebook page about episode 172. That was Rediscovering Joy, Finding New Passions Despite Fibromyalgia. Shelly said, "This is one of the best podcasts I've heard, and it landed at a perfect time in my own journey. I've been following you for several years now and credit much of my learned wisdom to you. Cheers, and thanks for all you do for the fibro community." Thank you so much for sharing this, Shelly. She also said she was going to be sharing the episode with her community, so thank you for that as well, Shelly, for sharing the episode. And thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this episode was helpful. And if it was, I would love for you to share it like Shelly did with a friend who might need a little encouragement, especially as we are heading into the most stressful goal setting of the year, right? New Year's is right around the corner. So share this with someone that needs a gentler way. Take good care of yourself. And remember, there is nothing wrong with you. The problem is with a goal-setting process that was designed for neurotypical, able-bodied people, right? It's not you. Stay ferocious, my friend, and feel free, like I said, to send me your wins. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to celebrate with you. And that wraps up another episode of the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhouse. For daily doses of hope, inspiration, and practical advice, come hang out with me on Facebook. Visit facebook.com/fibrocoach to find my personal coaching page and connect with me directly. To find the show notes, additional resources, or to schedule a consultation with me or one of my coaches, visit fibromyalgiapodcast.com.